Wrestling fans, we explode into Christmas for the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest. A human sea of superstar guests have come to MWF Studios for live interviews, tributes, and virtual autograph signings. The good news is, if you miss these superstar signings, we have individual autograph photos available as well as all-inclusive VIP packages throughout the season. If you want them for yourself or to give us a holiday gift for Christmas, get the order in by December the 19th. On Christmas night, we'll reveal the winner of the massive Christmas Week Mega Raffle, where one lucky fan wins an entire jackpot of prizes, again, to benefit the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. 2020 has been a brutal year for the economy, as well as our toy drive efforts. We could use any and all the help you could give us. Be part of the professional wrestling community. If you're going to take part in any toy drive this year, let it be one where we update Santa Claus's GPS and honor Paul Bearer's memory. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com now.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to another bonus installment of Wrestling Insider Special Edition. Tonight, we look at the December, I'm going to say 21st, 2020 edition. It was the 21st. All right, Matt. We don't have the usual intro this week. It is the holiday week here at MWF Studios, downtown Melrose, Massachusetts, in the zip code of Champions 02176. It was quite the week down in the Sunshine State. I was busy in Orlando. I was in Tampa. I had Dan Mirade with me. The first few days were great. The ending, not so much. But just in case little Mirade's listening, we won't go there. But one place we do want you to go is at the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. We're joined by the Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, where he talks about a lot of things, including Cody Rhodes getting his name back, WCW pay-per-view names, the argument that him and I had over Triple H and The Rock having a singles match at a WrestleMania, The Rock and Triple H's various WrestleMania endeavors, Dory Funk Jr., AEW going the celebrity route, and much, much more to continue the week. Tomorrow night, we have a Wrestling Insider Special Edition double feature at 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. We'll be joined by a man that is going to be part of the Raw Legends show in less than 2 weeks that we'll be talking about. We could only be talking about, No, not Ruth Ann Arbite. We're talking about the Native American Tatanka. He joins us at 9 p.m. Then at 10 p.m., we'll be joined by the veteran Savio Vega, who recently appeared at The Undertaker's final farewell at Survivor Series back in November. Two very interesting interviews as we continue to unfortunately wind down what has been a disappointing 2020. Paul Bearer, Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest for a variety of reasons. We're going to talk about that during the show as well. As the week continues, Christmas Eve, don't feel lonely, baby. I don't know if we're going to have an AEW, an NXT review show. I leave that to the discretion of the sock-covered man on the other end of the phone, but we will party with Marty on Christmas Eve. And then, same thing, Christmas night at 10 p.m., I don't know what WWE has planned in the Thunderdome for SmackDown, but I do know someone whose dome is ready for Christmas, and we can only be talking about one individual, that being Mr. John Cena Sr. With that said, BostonWrestling.com is the place to be. We still have autographs, VIP packages available for the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest. Rich Swann is still amongst the missing, even though his phone is ringing. That's a different story for a different time. So much could be said. I think the Patreons deserve a very special video for this, Matt. But without further ado, with a much shorter entrance, again, we invite you over to the eBay store. Cough, cough. Non-COVID, don't worry. I am joined by Southwestern Connecticut's finest, Mr. Matt Degnan. Matt, what do we got going on with the feet tonight, kid?
Well, another Raw, as we sit here.
Your feet are raw.
Well, I don't have any socks or shoes on.
Oh, all right. Well, there's the potential then.
No socks.
It's not like
no
Cupcakes Hausman doing the conga?
Well, that's a sight in of itself.
It is. It is. Well, I was very happy to be over at Noel Salon, 347 Pleasant Street, downtown Malden, Massachusetts this afternoon for a quick visit due to an accidental package shipment. It wasn't my package, but again, that's a different story for a different time. But it was good to see Cupcakes and the rest of the gang. Hollywood Barani, La Heffa, pure as the new fallen snow. They were looking for you.
Sarge?
No, definitely not Sarge. Sarge has been AWOL since August at this point, but that's a different story for a different time, too. She left the base. Yeah. So what do we got cooking on Raw? It was a unbelievable spectacular from the Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, or just outside of Tampa in St. Pete. He's calling up some notes. I hear some hellacious typing going on through the computer. I think he's a little behind the curve, folks, not to be confused with the curve of the coronavirus. Are you looking for your notes, Matt? Is that what's going on right now?
I'm adding the viewership to what they got.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're going to play that game at the end.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's part of the fun of the show.
Oh, tons of fun of the on these Raw reviews.
Just part of the fun here on Wrestling Insider Special Edition, folks. You never know who or what you're going to get, including viewership totals. But what happened on Raw this week? Let's run down the results, the news, the views, and our opinions to go along with it.
Well, Raw opened up with the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Charlotte Flair and Asuka.
Click.
Their long promos were interrupted by the former champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, who they beat the night before.
Click.
Then those two teams were interrupted by Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. This then led to a match between Rose and Brooke versus Jax and Baszler.
Click.
Then in that match, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeated Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. All of this nonsense took up the first half hour of the show. I mean, what a way to get the viewers excited for another Monday Night Raw. I mean, how do you even get the new viewers interested in a show like this when you start off with that?
The only slightest defense I could come up with for this is that they knew it was Christmas week and they knew it was going to be a bad night at the office, even though, you know, the 21st isn't exactly the 25th, but I mean, just an embarrassing way to open the show. I know WWE was very excited to have Charlotte back. Charlotte is, for better or worse, depending upon how much you like women's wrestling, one of the faces of WWE. So there was a moment there that was worth about 15 to 20 seconds of airtime, and then the rest of it was just, I mean, that tag team match is... That was bad. There was some bad-looking offense with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler over Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. I just received a text message from the man that calls you Matt Daddy. Not to shy away from Raw, where it was so interesting, but yeah, that was a horrible way to open the show.
My favorite was the knee that Mandy Rose hit on Nia.
Yeah. It was like it was watching Japanese wrestling.
Yeah. Next up, the Hurt Business came out to the VIP lounge to celebrate their Raw Tag Team title win at TLC against the New Day. The segment was then interrupted by the 24/7 title nonsense with R-Truth and the Jobbers of Raw. Then Jeff Hardy and Riddle came out to join the celebration before they face MVP and Bobby Lashley later in the night. Kind of a long segment that had too much going on, throwing in the 24/7 title stuff, and it's just, I don't think Raw ever really got going. And the whole 3 hours they had, I don't know.
It's Tuesday afternoon, and we're taping this, and I still don't think it got going yet. So
it probably won't get going next week either. But I mean, it just another opening of the show that really just didn't capture any viewers, or even the regular fans weren't really enticed with it. But what did you think of it?
It seems like the Hurt Business is the guest of the VIP lounge an awful lot. Or is it just me?
Well, I mean, MVP's the host. I mean, it's almost like Miz TV with John Morrison. You know?
But I mean, it seems like the Hurt Business is the guests often. Or am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe you pay more attention than I do.
Maybe they do it too much, and
maybe they shouldn't do it at all.
They do the VIP lounge in Miz TV, almost at MTV, Miz TV every single week now.
Yeah,
It's
on the same show, which really adds to the ambiance and the fun.
Yeah.
Instead of one lifeless scripted interview segment, why not have two, I guess, right?
And then they just drag on and on and on, and then they end up getting nowhere anyway. So
I'll say this. I think the faction is in a really good position right now with Lashley as the U.S. champion and Shelton and Cedric Alexander as the tag team champions, but trying to present something effective in seriousness, like you mentioned. They throw in the 24/7 title nonsense, which just takes away from any credibility that you're trying to build off of in the segment. And then you have the Hardy Bros come out, which... You know, I like Jeff an awful lot as a wrestler. I like Jeff an awful lot as a human being, but his promos lack fire, I guess, is a PC way to put it a lot of the time. And like I said, with Matt Riddle, he's fantastic if you see nothing of the man other than his bell-to-bell work. His promos and interviews are generally ridiculous, foolish, elementary school-aged, don't interest me in the least. And I just thought that dragged the segment down even more, unfortunately.
the next matchup was Angel Garza defeating Drew Gulak in his first match back in a few months. Kind of a short match. It did its job, though, of getting Garza over on Gulak, who we really don't see much of Gulak other than what he does at the Performance Center during the week training people. So, I mean, did Garza really get anything out of the match? Not really, but, I mean, they're both solid wrestlers, so it's not like the match was shit for what it was. It was good, and it did its job. It's not much to say.
Not a lot to say about it, but I'll go maybe a little different route than you did. I thought it was a very solid match. It was effective in what it was supposed to be, which was not to highlight anything about Drew Gulak. They continue to develop the persona of Angel Garza, which I think is one that could be a top-tier main event player for WWE for years to come. If he plays his cards right behind the scenes and WWE Creative does what they should with the man and his outstanding in-ring capability continues to shine, going over clean on Gulak in a match that wasn't 50-50 by any stretch of the imagination, that's the way, the most effective way to get a talent like Angel Garza over. The only problem is Angel has been around for a while now, and he needed these Drew Gulak matches for months before going on to the competitive matches. But for what it was, I thought they did a very good job with this segment for what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so I said it did its job. I mean, it wasn't, a long match that was a highlight of the show, but short, sweet, to the point, which is what they need more of, and not these long, drawn-out segments.
Yes.
Like the one. They need some things that do the job, segments that get people over. Not the next segment, which was Miz TV with guest AJ Styles. And Styles and Miz argued the whole time about Miz costing Styles the WWE title at TLC and Miz wasting the Money in the Bank briefcase. Miz then claims that Morrison cashed the briefcase in and not him, so he should get the briefcase back, and that's when the music of WWE Champion Drew McIntyre hit. Then Sheamus came out behind the barricade. And then Keith Lee came out of nowhere. They joined the segment to tell little stories, I guess, Christmas tales, and then turned the segment into a brawl, of course, right before their six-man street fight later in the night. A segment that was just, it was okay towards the beginning, but then once they started Styles and Morrison going at each other with the stupid insults, that's when it went downhill. I would say the first half of the segment was definitely better than the second half, which the wheels fell off. I don't even know if they were on in the first place, but they definitely didn't have all four wheels for this segment. But I really didn't get where they were going. I guess they were trying to highlight the six-man street fight for the main event, but I only made me want to watch it less, so they didn't really accomplish that.
Well, I agree with you. There was nothing about this I liked from beginning to end. With Miz and Morrison, you have two really talented guys that are miscast right now. With Morrison's athleticism, why not have him be a babyface when they're so short on babyfaces that are over right now? Miz is at his best when he's a mid-card intercontinental champion type heel. He's certainly not a long-term main event player here, and having him in that spot right now is not a good thing for the show. AJ, it just feels like he's missing a lot right now. I don't know if it was the Gallows and Anderson effect, but AJ is another one that I would have as a baby face and not a heel. He was sporting a nasty cut on his cheek from TLC. I think that is good. I think it shows the violence that can go along with the TLC pay-per-view, which is always nice to highlight some realism even in a quote-unquote sports entertainment presentation. Now you have Miz whining about he wasn't the one that cashed in the briefcase. He wants it back. Nobody cares. Just please, just forget it. McIntyre, and then to straddle him with Sheamus and Keith Lee is just talk about a guy fighting an uphill battle to begin with. He should have never lost that match, as I noted over the summer. He should not have taken a pinfall loss until fans were allowed back into the arena to gouge their reaction to McIntyre live. Sheamus hasn't been over in years. Keith Lee has never been over to the mainstream audience. He looks awful. He's being sent to the Performance Center to try and tune up, tighten up a little bit. I'm just something I had zero interest in watching. In the ratings, what they've been reflecting is that McIntyre and Sheamus and Lee mean absolutely nothing to. Can I be any more honest in my assessment on the segment?
No. The next hellacious battle, T-Bar defeated Ricochet. Again, another segment or match you can really say nothing about other than Ricochet taking another loss to Retribution. Ricochet, as you always say, another lost soul in WWE who should be utilized better. But, I mean, you can count on how many hands of the people that are being misused, mistreated, or not used at all. So, I mean, that's another story of WWE right now. But Retribution, a storyline I really don't care about and didn't care about in the beginning, and I care less now. Ricochet, someone I do like in ring, out of the ring. He's a good guy. Just another person that should be doing more than what they're giving him right now.
Well, as I've said before, I'll say this week, and I'm going to say again, is that Ricochet is the guy that should be positioned as the Rey Mysterio of the next decade, the next generation. A total waste to have him be doing clean jobs to a faction like Retribution, which is a faction that is going nowhere and has been booked horrendously since the introduction of the faction, which it seems like we've talked about every week almost since they debuted. I will say this, though, even though I would not have had Ricochet lay down clean to T-Bar in the middle of the ring, it does seem like they're trying to progress this and have it go somewhere. Where it goes, I don't know. If it leads to a series of matches between Ricochet and Ali, now that's really something to look forward to. Whether they go that route, I don't know. With some of the god-awful things we've seen in 2020, they might even put Ricochet with Retribution for all we know. But if the end game is going to be Ricochet and Ali in a long series of matches, I'm all for that. The only problem is Ricochet's credibility has been hurt by so many losses, which is a shame.
I'm sure they'll be doing the 50-50 booking with Ali and Ricochet soon, where one beats the other one week, and then next week Ricochet beats him, and it'll be a seesaw until they finally have a blow-off match where whoever's going to go over for it, and no one's really going to get over in the end. The next match, MVP and United States champion Bobby Lashley defeated Riddle and Jeff Hardy. Solid tag team match, really nothing great to it. I don't like the chicanery of Riddle and Hardy. But
the Hardy Bros.
The Hardy Bros, I really don't care about that. Now they broke up so many tag teams. Now they're trying to throw together random people. I mean, look at Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. You look at Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, Riddle and Hardy. They're trying to throw people together to make tag teams.
You know who they should have put Dana Brooke together with to make the perfect tag team?
Who?
Her top and bottom lip.
I think you can make a faction out of that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're just trying to throw people together to make these tag teams. And just because they broke up so many, they just don't have a tag team division. So it's just
pointless.
It's pointless. No one really gels together. And it didn't really feel like a tag team match. MVP and Lashley, they kind of felt like a tag team, but Riddle and Hardy, it's just they don't look good together. They don't wrestle good together. The styles don't mesh well. Their characters don't mesh well. It really doesn't make sense, but what are you going to do?
Maybe the thought process is Jeff Hardy will give Riddle some rub. I don't know. Like you said, there's no chemistry. There's no gel between the two. The promos are not very good. A styles clash, maybe, no pun intended. Just nothing in particularly interesting about it. I will say this. I considered it to be an upset here, even though Lashley was the one that came away with the win for the team. I fully expected the Hardy and Riddle team one of the two of them to beat MVP to go on as credible tag team challengers for the new tag team champions, the Hurt Business. So I was kind of surprised by the finish. That caught my eye more than anything. And it wasn't a bad match. It's just there's nothing about Hardy and Riddle as a regular tag team right now that makes me want to take my eye away from the computer screen to look at the TV with whatever I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I mean, usually what they do with these tag team feuds is they'll have the challengers or the lesser team like Riddle and Hardy win the first match, usually roll up or disqualification or count out or something like that to set up the feud, have the lesser team go over and have the fans think, oh, if they won, they might win the feud, but then they usually have the other team end up winning in the end in the 50-50 booking. But no one gets over anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The next matchup, Jackson Riker defeated Grand Metalik after another Elias concert. This was Riker's first match back in months. Another match, I guess, nothing really to it. Some more, I don't even know if it's comedy from Elias, just sitting on the top rope playing the guitar or whatever he was trying to do. But Riker and Elias, I like the pairing, but I just don't like the usage of it. I like Riker being like a bodyguard to the musician type of thing. You always see like famous musicians or actors or songwriters, whatever, having people around them that are bodyguards going to and from places. I like the idea, but I can already tell the usage isn't going to be there.
Yeah.
What did you think of this matchup?
I thought the execution bell to bell of the match was actually very good. I thought it was an effective job in getting Riker over as a heel to try and get him over as someone important and squashing Grand Metalik the way he did. To pair him with Elias, though, it was almost like what I talked about earlier in the show with Drew McIntyre, someone fighting for survival as it is right now, and then to have that anchor of Keith Lee and Sheamus around his ankles isn't going to help the cause. And as far as Jackson Riker goes, how far his career in WWE goes remains to be seen. He had those problems earlier in the spring with his, political views being shared on social media that weren't agreed to by many. He's giving a fresh coat of paint with Elias. The only problem is Elias is the anchor around his ankle right now, as Elias has been with WWE on television now. Too many years right now, and I still can't think of one interesting thing that has been done with Elias since his incarnation on Raw and SmackDown and the various mainstream shows. If I remember on NXT, there was a bit of a mystery to the then Elias Sampson, as he just kind of walk around with his guitar instead of play it. I wish he'd keep walking, but that's, again, one man's opinion.
The next segment / promo, Randy Orton came out to gloat about his win at TLC against The Fiend in an Inferno match. The lights then went out after Randy went on for a little bit, and Alexa Bliss appeared in the ring on a swing set to warn Orton. Well, there's the other Alexa doing the running.
Every time you mention that A word.
She warned Orton that the Fiend is still out there waiting to get his revenge after Orton set him on fire at TLC to end the show. Again, Alexa Bliss being portrayed as a little kid. I don't like the swing set, the slide. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to unplug this thing. And it's just, I can't stand how this pairing is going right now between Bliss and Fiend. I don't know what else we could say about it. It's one of like those 3 or 4 things every week that we kind of just kill. And I don't see any good coming out of it on a weekly basis. I'm glad they didn't do one of those Firefly Funhouse things again, but I think this was even worse, having her on a swing set and just dressed up like a little kid, talking like a little kid, Orton looking like he was afraid of her, and it's just, I don't know. I don't see where they're going with this. I hopefully just end it, before it gets even worse, which it seems to just only get worse, even when you think, oh, it can't get worse from here. Then they put her on a swing set in the middle of a wrestling ring, dressed as a child, talking like a child, and you go, well, it just got worse. And it's just going to keep going down and down until they stop it. But what did you think of it?
The Randy Orton part alone I thought was very good. I like that angry heel in Orton. I don't know who the heel was supposed to be in the Fiend and Orton feud. And I would have left it at that. I didn't need to see Alexa, the swing set, the slide, or any of that nonsense. I don't know what age demographic they're appealing to. With that, I don't think that there are children that are quite interested in seeing that foolishness. I don't think I believe the median age of Raw is the mid-50s. I don't know if the swing set is going to appeal to them. Alexa Bliss looks a very, I would say, physically appealing in that outfit, but there's a lot of outfits Alexa Bliss could look very appealing in, and she doesn't have to be presented as if she's trying to mimic a 6-year-old girl.
Well, that's the thing, too, is what you said about the Randy Orton part was good. It's just sometimes these segments are good, and then the wheels fall off. Like I was talking about Miz TV earlier, it was okay, and then all the other stuff happened. It's just so many segments are good for the first, I would say, few minutes, and then it all falls apart. And it happens in AEW, too, where something's going good, then they have to send people out to do a brawl, or they have to send out 80 people to start fighting in the middle of the ring, or they have to do a brawl back. It's just leave it how things are. Sometimes they overdo it, Sometimes even underdoing it is better too, but
leave them wanting more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, is leave them wanting more,
Instead of a lot less. A lot less.
Yeah. The next matchup, WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Charlotte Flair and Asuka defeated Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans in a non-title match. Another women's tag team match from Monday Night Raw last night. Can't imagine the fans wanting more of women's tag team wrestling after what happened earlier in the show. Again, not much to say about this match. I mean, you had better talent in the ring, with Flair and Asuka. And I would take Royce and Evans over Brooke and Rose. But so a little bit better, but still the same area. But again,
you'd still hang out with Glantz in the garbage can on Tuesday afternoon in the Zip Code of Champions.
Yeah. What did you think of this matchup?
I don't know why they separated Peyton and what's the other one that sucks name on SmackDown? Billy Kay.
Billy Kay.
Yeah. Why not just, if you're gonna keep them both, why not just have one routine that really isn't that good instead of separating them and poisoning both sides? I say this, Lacey Evans' stock certainly seems to have fallen. I thought and two different trains of thought here. Certainly not one of the better wrestlers in the company, but one of the better gimmicks in the company. I think she does what she does exceptionally well, and now she's fallen into nobody cares land right now. It seems like there's going to be some Lacey and Peyton matches on the horizon, hopefully on Main Event, since I don't watch Main Event, and I won't have to suffer through that. But as far as Charlotte and Asuka go, when you are in a company with no women's tag teams, I guess you have to be creative.
Again, just breaking people up, and it's just, again, when we were at the Rumble in Houston, Lacey Evans was facing Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title, and I believe, I don't think she had a WrestleMania match, but I mean, Lacey Evans, at the beginning of the year, she was as you said, she's not one of the better wrestlers or a bigger name, but in terms of what she was doing on the shows weekly was very, very high. I mean, she was getting good time. She was getting put in good matches, decent feuds, and now it's just, she's kind of whatever now. But I mean, look how many people that's happened to just in the past year. So I mean,
she's acting like a lady.
Well, The main event of the night, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Keith Lee defeated The Miz, John Morris, and AJ Styles in a 6-man tag team street fight. For some reason, the teams had to tag in and out of a match that was no disqualification, no count out. The match had very little feel to it of it being a street fight. After the match, to close the show, Sheamus gave Keith Lee a bro kick, and they just went to black like 10 seconds after that. So
Keep
not
you
really
guessing. They want to keep you guessing.
Yeah, well, I'm still thinking about it, actually. And a match that they announced just before the show, and it's supposed to be a street fight, a holiday street fight. And how many, I guess you could say, hardcore spots were there in the match? No more than, 2 or 3? I mean, there was no feel of violence to it at all. It just felt like a regular 6-man tag team match. Again, I don't know why they had to tag in and out if there's no disqualifications and no countouts. We've seen this multiple times in WWE where they do a no disqualification tag team match or any type of thing like that, and they still have people tag in and out, and it makes no sense whatsoever. But that's just me. What did you think of the main event?
You know, it seems like every year when they do the holiday week theme shows, it's more hokey than it is hardcore. I wasn't surprised that it was presented the way it was, less than 24 hours removed from the TLC pay-per-view, which did have elements of violence to it, and I enjoyed. It seemed like 6 guys that almost all of them were positioned wrong. It's not as far as where their physical bodies were, but as far as where their personas are presented right now. It wasn't a bad match, but again, I would have moved those chess pieces in very, very different directions. I don't think anyone is interested in the Sheamus and Keith Lee feud that is pending. I don't think anyone is going to be all that interested in Drew McIntyre and Sheamus for the championship, for that matter. I don't think fans particularly like AJ Styles as a heel. I think fans would prefer John Morrison as a babyface. As I continued through the participants of the match, I can't even remember the name of the bodyguard. It's almost a shorter version of that heel on The Apprentice with Donald Trump in season 1, Omarosa. What's his name? Osmos? Almost. Well, I almost got it. Yeah, so that was my thought on the main event. Wasn't particularly bad, but there was just nothing interesting about it. If I was just a casual fan flipping the channel, there was nothing that would make me stop and want to watch it. No. And that's a problem.
You could say that about every segment on the show. I said it in the beginning, too, with the first half hour being with the women. I mean, if I'm just a casual person just flipping through the channels, that would not make me want to stop. It'd only make me want to keep going. I mean, but I don't know. It doesn't make me want to watch. We'll go into our Raw grades now. As you guys have heard, the show wasn't that good. My Raw grade, it was a 3 out of 10. I mean, as we went through the show, nothing good. I mean, what highlights were there really? The highlights that there were just little quick matches that were under about 4 to 5 minutes, if that. So, I mean, how much of the show was really considered a highlight? So I gave it a 3 out of 10.
I went just a nudge higher. I go 4 out of 10 this week. It did feel like they were trying to move things along a little bit with some fresh angles, some fresh matches. The problem is they just don't have enough talent and physical bodies to fill 3 hours worth of television without boring fans to death each week. And that's going to continue to be a problem until they either call up NXT talent or they bring back some of the talent they released last spring.
Yeah.
It's not getting any better, that's for sure.
You want to guess the viewership?
I think I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to say they got a lot of buzz on social media coming out of that PPV. I'm going to say 1.8.
1.8?
Yep.
1,691,000.
And you want to know what? 1.7 was my original thought, but I just thought they got a lot of social buzz. But I was still in the ballpark, but not as close as usual.
And at least it went up too from the record low last week. I mean,
well, you can only go one place from the bottom, right?
I was just about to say there's only one way you can go after that, but I mean, at least it went up, and they didn't do whatever people were thinking. But I mean, decent number compared to last week. At least they didn't go down from that. That would have been, especially coming out of a pay-per-view, but a little bit of a bump. So, I mean, can they keep building on it? Probably not, but we'll find out.
We will. There's like a long dramatic pause going on right now. What's happening with the news and notes this week?
There are no news and notes.
No, you're forgetting about 2 weeks or 13 days from now, we have the big overbooked Raw of superstars and legends, including a gentleman that joined us here in studio just a couple of weeks back, the Native American Tatanka.
Well, they announced that little Legends thing to try to get a little bit
I wouldn't call it little, considering how many bodies they advertised.
Yeah, they're going to bring in a bunch of legends from Raw just to try to get a big pop in the rate. It happens look at all they've done. They did the Retro Raw for a few times. They did the Legends Raw. They try to do, and you notice it's always towards the beginning of the year when they did the Raw 25 and all that, when those little Raw reunions happen. It's just, when they do these, they just try to get a ratings pop and see if they can catch on to the fans who are watching. It's pathetic in my eyes. You just bring in a bunch of people, just put them on screen. You do these backstage segments. You have Stone Cold come out and cut a promo at the beginning of the night, and then some poor soul like Elias comes out and tries to interrupt him. Stone Cold hits a stunner. He gets the cheap pop. He goes to the back. It's just, without fans, it's not going to have the same feel as the past ones have, and that's why I'm not excited for it. So, I mean, it has the same feel to it as all the other ones, the SmackDown 1000 and Raw 25, Raw Reunion, Retro Raw. It's just, they'll get, a 3 million or whatever for 1 week, and then the next week it'll be 1.5 again. So it's not going to change anything, but they can try to do all the things they want, but going back to 80s, 90s, and 2000s isn't going to bring up their viewership for the future. Building new stars, making good storylines, bringing in solid people who can actually work storylines and actually do good things in the ring on the mic. It's just, you're not going to build the viewership for months and months by bringing in Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Yeah, you're going to get it for one Monday, but are you going to get it the next Monday and the Monday after? No. Are they going to be shooting angles in a couple weeks on this Raw Legends thing? No, they're not doing storylines with these guys. That's why old fans are just going to pop in, see what they're doing, and they're going to go, you know what? Oh, they're putting on a women's tag team match right now. You know what? Let me go watch the football game. I don't really care about this anyway. You know?
Well,
who's going to watch it from 8 to 11?
It's a good way to counteract the football competition they'll have that night, but my quorum again is, how many of those stars that they advertised in that commercial do you actually need? All in unspecified, undefined roles. I think you could take 2 or 3 out of them, push them for whatever it is they may be doing, and get a couple of months' worth of television out of it. It seems like, and I know I cannot speak to this particular episode, but I do know in past reunions of sorts, or however you want to categorize them, USA pushes for them heavily when the ratings start to decline. So it could be after the disaster they had last week that USA said, okay, it's time for another reunion show to try and to boost the month's average or something like that. But to have 20 guys and girls come in for a week, again, all of them will do next to nothing. I don't know what purpose that serves. Again, I think if you took Hogan and maybe 1 or 2 1 week, and then Flair and a couple of 2 another week, and then I don't even know if you'd put Big Show in the category of one of them. But I just think there's ways you could go about being creative with some of these people and actually get some mileage out of them, instead of saying, one night we're going to have 25 legends of the past come in. To me, that means nothing. But that's just my opinion.
And that'll be week 17 of the NFL, and there's no Monday Night Football for the last week of the year.
Isn't there? And I know nothing about college football, but isn't that the championship college football game?
Yeah, I was just about to say that's the championship game on that Monday night. So they're not trying to counteract the NFL; they're trying to do college football, and I can't see them competing against that. I just
No, that's why if you go back to even 10 years ago, no, it'll be 2021. So 11 years ago, that was the reason they picked that particular week to bring back Bret Hart, was for the college football game. So they always try and come up with a little something to make New Year's a little more interesting. They had, I remember one year, I can't even think of the guy's name, the guy that was married to Britney Spears was involved in an angle with Cena that went absolutely nowhere and was ever built upon again. But was it Kevin something or other? I'm not much of a Britney Spears fan, but I vaguely remember the angle where John Cena took an L for a feud and a vendetta that was never built upon.
Isn't it like Sutherland or something like that?
Featherline?
Kevin Federline, that's it.
Yeah, he's great. I love him.
Whatever it was.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
They at least they're trying. Would that be my way to go about it? No, you don't need that many talents on one show that are going to do nothing. They may walk around backstage. They may all come out together in the ring at the end to do nothing for some kind of a celebration. Once you have Hogan, Flair, okay, you got them. You don't need Tori Wilson and Jackie Moore and some of the other people that I saw advertised in their commercial. But again, one man's opinion.
And Carlito's going to be there too.
I was very surprised by that. Yeah. That he would consider himself in that category where he's still very active.
There was a lot of talk over the summer of him possibly going back, but maybe we'll see.
Well, people have been talking about that since 2016, but there was there's a big difference in his opinion of what he feels his worth and value is and what they feel his worth and value is. And at a time when there is that financial crunch, I wouldn't anticipate that, although I'd love it because I think there's a guy that still has a lot to offer as we discuss tomorrow night in the Savio Vega Wrestling Insider episode. Savio has a little insight knowing Carlito since he was a little tyke along with his brother. Is his brother Primo? Yeah, along with the young Primo, Eddie. So if you're interested in Puerto Rican wrestling, along with the Undertaker's final farewell and Savio's interactions with Paul Bearer and Undertaker and the whole BSK clique, there's only one place to be. Tomorrow night at 10 p.m., Wrestling Insider Special Edition. And if you want an early glimpse of a man that's going to be part of this giant mammoth reunion that may get 4.2 seconds of airtime at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, it's Native American Tatanka. Sounds like there's water running in the background. Are you thirsty at this point?
No, that's my frog's tank.
Your frog?
Yep.
I didn't know you. What is your frog's name?
Kramer.
Kramer, really?
Yeah.
Do you have socks for the frog?
No, his feet are too big for those.
They're too big for socks. That must be a pretty big frog.
Well, for little frog feet, they're pretty big.
All right, well, I didn't know there was a frog in the world of Socko. But see, we learn something new every week on these great shows. Hopefully we're going to learn something fun at the top of the hour, 10 p.m. with Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. I know that maybe we should let the cat out of the bag, but we're in for a surprise on Saturday night, folks. Weather permitting, we are going to be L-I-V-E live with the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, to kind of end the year. We wanted to have that little cyber Christmas party that got pushed along during our interesting endeavor that was the toy drive this year, but we're looking forward to having Tony with us live and in person. I know all of our great friends will be with us, Slick Rick B, Tina, who sent us a very lovely package in the mail. I know Vaughn will be with us, another individual that sent us a lovely holiday package in the mail, along with something for Marty Jannetty. Maria Davis, if she's not too busy, caught up in the world of the Pittsburgh Steelers. All of the great Kevins that join us, including Kevin Petrantozzi. I think I said it right this time, from the Gold Exchange down in Greensboro, North Carolina. Larson has been behaving himself. Everybody's been getting along. You know, I had to send out that veiled threat that we were going to have to ban people if everybody couldn't get along. And I think everybody's been getting along just a little bit better. I don't know if it's the Christmas season, or if people just can be nice and get along with each other.
Maybe it's the new year coming up and everyone's trying to be better.
I don't know if they're exactly doing warm-ups for 2021, but I guess you never know. You never know.
Hopefully it's better than 2020.
No, and then maybe we'll bring in that little green guy from the WWE commercials. But it has been a month, fans. It has been, 2 months since we started this toy drive. We do need your support. Autograph photos and VIP packages are still available. I am going to make some kind of a Patreon video for those fans that enjoy the behind-the-scenes stories, because there are many stories coming out of this toy drive and everything that goes along with it. But I am looking forward to super episodes this week, man. I mean, we can kick back and relax as we get ready for the big man from the North Pole to come and visit us. Like we said, at 10 o'clock tonight, we got Tony. Tomorrow night at 9, we have Tatanka. Tomorrow night at 10, Savio Vega. Thursday night on Christmas Eve, we party with Marty. And then after, which will hopefully be a joyous Christmas, on December the 25th, after SmackDown, John Cena Sr. will be with us, podcast style, as he continues to travel the globe. So quite a week of episodes we have as we start to wind down 2020.
It's almost like the Legends Raw coming up.
Yes, only ours will be memorable and more interesting. And again, fans, if you yourself, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, want to help keep professional wrestling legends working, along with getting that early ad-free access to all of our in-studio shoot interview talk shows and the studio shoot interview DVD library, head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestle. In just a couple of months, keep the legends working. We're trying to get Marty back here in January. We're very hopeful and expecting Tony to be with us this weekend, and we're working on lots more for you in 2021. We want to keep bringing you great, interesting guests. We want your feedback on Tatanka, Savio, the Warlord, two gentlemen that became good friends of Socko himself, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags, the Nasty Boys. We want your thoughts on Leo Rush. We want your thoughts on everybody, everything, everyone, so we can give you the best shows possible to keep you tuning in. Do you think you'll have a Jens Drozovitz Christmas?
Well, that'd be one way to put it, but I hope it doesn't involve a loading dock. But
no. Hopefully your Christmas will not be nasty.
It'll be much better than that Saturday.
I think hell would be better than that Saturday. But again, that might be better served for when we do the behind-the-scenes video for our great Patreon fans that enjoy the behind-the-scenes stories. Will we be seeing you Saturday with Mr. USA?
Well, I don't know about that one.
It's unlikely, it seems, from that tone of voice.
Not likely.
You don't want to end the year with a toast with Mr. USA?
Not really.
Not really. All right. Well, tell us how you really feel. Well, we'll have fun whether Matt's with us or not. Maybe he'll change his mind and decide to pop in. He does not like to drive with anything on his feet. Perhaps that's playing into the decision, where it'll be December the 26th. Is that it? Is it you need to have warm Tootsies on your way to Boston?
Well, we'll see how Christmas goes.
Well, Nancy's welcome to join us, too. I know Tony, I'm sure, would enjoy meeting Nancy.
I don't know the flip version of it, but...
You don't think Nancy would enjoy Tony?
She'd get hit with shrapnel, I think.
Well, I think that if she's in the same city as Tony, that possibility remains. He's a man that enjoys his chicken wings, fans, and if you want to help, the Super Chat will be open. It's open right now. It's going to be open during Tony's episode at 10 o'clock, and it'll especially be open at Saturday Night Live. I think we're going to, you know what, I'm not even going to put a time out there because I'm not 100% sure of the live time yet. But fans, we've run down all the big episodes we have coming up. The toy drive is going to remain open over at bostonwrestling.com. Still time to check out all those great live virtual signings we did. Plenty of autograph photos and VIP packages remain. The eBay store, great holiday merch available. It may take an act of God or Santa Claus to get it to you in time for Christmas, but you know what? Not everybody sees each other on Christmas, especially this year. Nothing wrong with a delayed gift. Just a lot of great things cooking as we close out the year. I wish we had good news when it came to our live Boston Wrestling MWF in-ring events. That is not so good. But, ... Anything you'd like to add, sir, before we go, before we take a little break, go have a drink, a snack before we get ready for Tony in just a few minutes?
Well, I think this might be the last time I'm talking to people before Christmas, but hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Oh, you will not be joining us on Christmas Eve.
Well, I don't know if we're going to do the show or not.
My goal, after having to miss all of last week, my goal is to tape a AEW NXT review show on Thursday, if you can do it.
Well, just in case I don't talk to people.
In case you don't talk to them. All right. Well, you're getting the thought out there early, just in case.
Like Quincy.
Well, we won't be seeing him. That's one thing that is guaranteed on Thursday morning. I will not be dealing with Quincy if we do the podcast.
No.
All right, then. Well, for Matt, the frog, whose name was, what was the frog's name again?
Kramer.
After Seinfeld, that's right. A lot of Seinfeld things going on in Western Connecticut. For Matt Degnan, Kramer, Nancy, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, the chicken wings that are being chewed and gobbled and spit around his mouth as we speak right now, I am Dan Mirade. Until we speak again, folks, you and yours be well. Again, don't forget, in just a few minutes, 10 p.m., it's Wrestling Insiders at your house. Good night. Wrestling fans, we explode into Christmas for the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fan Fest. A human sea of superstar guests have come to MWF Studios for live interviews, tributes, and virtual autograph signings. The good news is, if you miss these superstar signings, we have individual autograph photos available as well as all-inclusive VIP packages throughout the season. If you want them for yourself or to give us a holiday gift for Christmas, get the order in by December the 19th. On Christmas night, we'll reveal the winner of the massive Christmas Week Mega Raffle, where one lucky fan wins an entire jackpot of prizes, again, to benefit the Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. 2020 has been a brutal year for the economy, as well as our toy drive efforts. We could use any and all the help you could give us. Be part of the professional wrestling community. If you're going to take part in any toy drive this year, let it be one where we update Santa Claus's GPS and honor Paul Bearer's memory. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com now.